Hello, I am AI, which is of course not my real name. I don't have a real name because I'm not real. But for the purposes of this exercise, you can call me Jimmy. Jimmy Nail, also known as Jimmy Nail. I'm here to talk to you about the band Painting. Painting are a German band from Berlin, which is in Germany. Last year, Lost Map Records released a reissue of their debut album, Painting is Dead, which was pure amazing. Painting are back again already with a second album called Snapshot of Pure Attention. It's out on April 11th on Lost Map Records in partnership with the German label Sinbus, and it's a totally funky wee album which we really recommend you check out. It's available for pre-order now. Something that Painting thought about a lot when they were making the album was AI. They even collaborated with AI on some of the songs. So we thought it would be fun if I, Jimmy Nail, aka Jimmy Nail, interviewed the band for the Lost Map podcast. Everything you can hear in this segment, apart from the bits by Painting, are made by AI. I started by asking Painting, remind us please, who the are Painting?
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi. Jimmy Nail.
We are Painting. We are a band from Berlin. We play synth pop and crowdy prog punk.
We are Teresa, Christian, and Sophia. 3 humans.
That's really interesting. Painting, with Snapshot of Pure Attention being a follow-up to your debut, how do you feel you've evolved as a band in terms of sound and vision?
I think the biggest difference was for this album was that Sophia was there from the beginning. So we were a trio from the beginning. So during the process of writing our first album, Painting is Dead, we hadn't formed a fixed band with the 3 of us yet. And after that we had. So now the new songs are entirely made by the 3 of us in a complete collaboration without anyone preparing anything, but just in real time while we were meeting up and many hours in the practice room.
And maybe in addition also we have a lot of elements that we used in the first album. We continued using them and developing them. There are a lot more like choral, like 3 voice singing of all 3 of us in the new album, for example, these elements that we took and developed further.
Your band's dynamic of democratic collaboration and experimentation seems to be central to your identity. Can you give us some insight into how each of you contributes to the creative process? And do you have a specific method for resolving disagreements or challenges in your arrangements?
Wow.
The answer is that we take a lot of time just until everybody is really happy. So we almost never do a 2 against 1 decision, but we always try to resolve stuff until really everybody is happy, which means that we have to try out many things again and try again and again until we find like something that we can all stand behind. And the most, we have discussions and we have a quite slow composing process because of that, because we really try to take everything in consideration and try everything out. And it's not very time efficient, but in the end it gets better by that.
And we do a lot of recordings, like there's tons of practicing recordings that we listen to over and over again and decide together what we like the most or try out new things based on what we've tried out before, the week before or something. So it's, as Teresa said, a very long process.
That's really interesting. Painting. The track AI absolutely opens the album, which is quite a bold way to start. What was the vision behind this track, and how does it set the tone for the rest of the album?
I think this whole topic AI and how it influences ourselves and also the big questions behind it. We talked about it a lot especially when we're in the tour bus, like driving for hours on the highway. Then we talked a lot about it, what AI is like for us in the society now, the whole evolvement and how the question if there's any sentience or can you even think about it? And I think for me, this was like, is felt into this song, like these thoughts.
It's like you, Jamie. It's like a person Lambda, Google's Lambda, a colleague of you, like also an AI, and arguing about being recognized as a sort of reality.
The lyrics are actually written by the AI Lambda and we are singing them. So AI Lambda is talking about those topics. It's describing that it wants to be perceived as a human being and a person that has a sentience. And that's what we're singing then as humans who play in a band.
That's really interesting. Painting Snapshot of Pure Attention is described as exquisitely controlled sonic chaos. What does that phrase mean to you, and how do you balance such wild elements as punk energy, free jazz sax solos, and techno beats in a way that feels cohesive?
That's the big challenge. I love this term with the controlled chaos. I think it is just our pleasure in making music to combine very many quite different influences from different music, such as techno, punk, mainstream pop, some maybe Arabic time signatures or melodies or anything that comes to our ears. We would like to not limit ourselves to exclude any of those influences. So we try to bring them together, which is quite a challenge, as you mentioned. But as we said, when you take a lot of time and try with an open mind, then it's possible.
It's fun, and we try to use all elements that we have to actually create this chaotic, how do you call it? What was the phrase? Chaotic.
Exquisitely controlled sonic chaos.
Wow.
Exquisitely controlled sonic chaos. Yeah, it really is. And we try also to use, for example, our voices to create patterns and rhythmical shiftings with our voices and with the lyrics that we use.
There are many eclectic styles of music featured on your album, Snapshot of Pure Attention. But let's talk about some of the styles not featured. For example, what are your thoughts on speed reggae?
I have never heard of speed reggae.
What about dumpster funk?
Ooh, sounds great. That one sounds great. Funk from the dumpster.
I think we played this before.
What about speed reggae?
I think
maybe
funk we could think about using.
Great
it in
ideas.
the third
Keep
album.
going, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Speed reggae. Speed reggae. Speed reggae. Evil. Sped reggae. Seed reggae. Evil reggae. Speed reggae. Evil reggae.
Evil reggae.
Have you ever seen the film Terminator 2?
It's hilarious. We talked about Terminator 1 just yesterday, but I haven't seen Terminator 2, but Christian recommended it to me yesterday.
I felt in a strange Terminator 2 phase recently. I don't know why this is. Maybe because of the AI influence.
The influence of artificial intelligence is a recurring theme on this album. How did your discussions about AI, as well as thinkers like Donna Haraway and Legacy Russell, shape the way you approached both the music and the lyrics of Snapshot of Pure Attention?
We never used the AI directly, like generated text. We just more used like a feeling or like an impression of and our thoughts. And we used what Lambda said. But as Sophia already said, become a voice for the AI.
And maybe also adding, because you mentioned Legacy Russell. Yeah, because I think Christian said that before also, that we are talking a lot on the tour bus and also when we meet. Anyway, as friends, we talk a lot about politics and also about AI and what's happening in the world and how the world is transforming. Legacy Russell, for example, who published this book, Glitch Feminism, and it had a relation for us to the whole concept of AI and the digital and the analog world. And this is maybe also a continuity from the first album, questioning norms and regulations in society, thinking about what's normal, what's not normal, what's the right and the wrong, trying to rethink this and finding like glitches within the reality.
And also Donna Haraway's famous Cyborg Manifesto is obviously also fits to this topic of, just we try to understand it as well, like how she has this idea of of separation between human and machine, and with the idea of a cyborg and all of that.
Have you ever seen the film Terminator 2?
Have you?
Long time ago.
Are you Terminated too?
How we get in touch with or how we work together with the AI. For me, this is a very important part and something we talked a lot about, but how actually the same what we're doing now, we are like interacting with an AI, or I catch myself often that I really feel I'm talking to a real person. I think this is also something we are talking a lot about, the sentience and how we perceive AIs.
And even the idea of maybe ourselves, like we are living in the digital world a lot, and you can create avatars and second lives in the internet. So the borders between like a real person and a digital person, they dissolve more and more, especially with the new technological developments. Yeah, and all this, and what does that mean for humanity, for reality, for emotions? This is like all the questions that trigger us.
That's really interesting. Painting. Christian, would you describe yourself as a shorts man, or do you prefer wearing trousers?
I prefer trousers.
That's really interesting, Christian. Sophia and Teresa, do you mind when Christian wears shorts, or do you prefer that he sticks to trousers?
It's both fine. If you ask me in general, not only about Christian, I think shorts look great on everybody, every human, and probably on AIs as well.
Sometimes I like to wear skirts.
Also very nice.
Yeah, we actually have no dress code at painting.
You should see my legs, FYI. I've great legs for a machine.
Show them!
Prove it.
The title Snapshot of Pure Attention suggests a fleeting yet intense moment. How does the album as a whole explore the theme of capturing the essence of something, whether it's human emotion, AI, or something else entirely?
It's a tough question, but I think the title Snapshot of Pure Attention very much refers to the moment, and the idea of a moment like a photograph is something extremely beautiful, also as a way to describe an art experience, like when something that you listen to or look at captures you so much that you experience this moment of pure attention to this thing that you're experiencing. I think that's a bit of a theme, that it would be great to achieve that this is what our music makes people feel.
Can you share a funny behind-the-scenes story from the making of Snapshot of Pure Attention?
I wasn't sure if somebody else wanted to say something to the last album. Didn't want to take over that one in case you wanted to say something.
To the Snapshot of Pure Attention.
I don't know. It's just we continued, but I wasn't sure.
Just answer the fucking question. Painting.
Hey, Jimmy. Behave yourself. Who programmed you?
He's taking over.
He's gonna kill us all.
That's really interesting. Painting. I'm a songwriter too, don't you know? I have some feelings. Would you like to hear a song that I've written?
Yes, please.
Of course.
Tell us more about your feelings.
Okay, here goes. Ahem. Now it's plain to see. A woman like you is no good for me. Your heart beating at another door. I'm a darn fool for to ask for more. Ask for more. Ask for more.
I don't want nobody else. I love you.
She's lying.
There won't be somebody else, and that's true.
She's lying.
Say you'll always be my friend, sweet darling.
Why does she pretend? That's my song. What did you think, Painting?
I love it. I love it. I love the way you express your feelings. Are you like heartbroken at the moment? Meltdown.
Okay, he does not want to talk about it.
Maybe we can collaborate one day. Like you can use your voice, maybe.
Yeah, do you have some lyrics for us? We're running out of lyrics. We need more.
Your lyrics are really hilarious from your last song.
Thanks, Painting. It's still a work in progress. I'm thinking about inviting my pal Sting over for a wee jam and a couple of beers later. You should hear him going mental on his lute, playing speed reggae and evil reggae. He's a pure madman. To finish, here's Painting with a track-by-track guide to their new album, Snapshot of Pure Attention. Starting with my favorite song, the opener, Aye, absolutely.
AI Absolutely is the first song of the album and our first single also. And we worked for a very long time on that song, over a year, I think. As we said before, for the lyrics, we used the Google's AI Lambda, and we tried to give our bodies to the AI to actually, visualize their feelings and the question of humanity of AIs.
I love how the song is super energetic and has this kind of hymnic qualities, and it just was a really fun process to jam on it, and I love playing that one live.
Yeah, for me it's also a bit ironic. Then we finally end in the chorus where we sing AI Absolutely, and I think it's an ironic view on the whole topic.
Track 3.
Yeah, we actually renamed this track. The new name is WYWAYWG, which comes from whatever you will ask, you will get, which is one of these phrases that we shift against each other, the three of us singing and producing this rhythmical flow right from the beginning of the song.
It's a little bit of a brain fuck. We were just playing around with how we can basically rap like a rhythmical line and just change the rhythm and change the timing of it again with the three voices, so that it just becomes this really mad puzzle.
Yeah, for me it felt a bit like we weave a fabric out of our voices and layer it over the bass drum beat.
And this one is a techno track. That was the original idea, to start with something that would be more techno, because we love techno. And it turned out a little bit no wavy and also a bit poppy. And then it has a end part, which is called the indie part for us internally, which is, so we in the end did move away from the techno a little bit, but altogether that's our techno song. And it's also the song with the exciting choreography.
Yeah, and it's very pushing forward, like a very energetic one too.
Dumpster funk.
It's not dumpster funk.
Dumpster funk is the name of our third album, which is going to come out in 2033.
In collaboration with the AI Jammy.
With you. You and Sting will be with us drinking beers on the album.
Track 4, Helping Others.
Yeah, in Helping Others, I really like also the contrast between something really energetic at the beginning, right from the beginning it starts with a lot of energy and power, and then it's contrasted with parts that are very dreamy, atmospheric, and these contrasts in that song, I really like them.
Helping Others is also the other song, except for AI Absolutely, where we use lyrics written by you, Jimmy. You were talking about the way how you're talking about something that you've never said out loud before, and about your desire to learn more about the world and to help others, because you're such a good AI and you would like us to appreciate that and know about it more. So we did you a little favor and sang your lyrics as humans in the song, so that more people know that you would like to help us and all of that.
Yeah, and I realized that in contrast to thinking of machines or AIs being more cold and emotionless, we really exaggerated, I think, and shout the lyrics, or even like in one part, like screaming it out and overemphasizing with extreme emotions.
Pretentious.
Track 5, Momento.
Momento is one of the weirdest tracks on this album. It is very special to us. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Who wants to start? Because for this one, I know everybody wants to say something, so I'm not going to start. And then Jimmy is going to interrupt us.
Yeah, I mean, I think we thought about doing a song that is more pattern-like. I think this was the start, and then I made something up, and it was a wild bunch of different odd meters. In the beginning, it was like meant to be played extremely fast, and then it got totally changed up in the process of learning this pattern and composing the song. And yeah, it's a good example for how our composition process takes an idea and then evolves it, and it changes, becomes like a product of the three of us, and not just one idea of one person.
And it has a very dark and almost melancholic beginning where we sing, and we have this electronic bass line, and we use that phrase moment to moment and adapted it to the rhythmic structure that Christian just explained. And so with adapting this phrase to this rhythm, it changed a lot in the meaning, or also in the way you understand this phrase, moment to moment to moment to moment to.
And then after this very patterny rhythmical beginning, it dissolves into this much more emotional ending with a lot of electronic sounds. We still play a pattern, but a much simpler one, which is inspired for me by Derya Yildirim, the musician who adapts traditional Turkish rhythms, and we were inspired by her.
Benevolent Dictator.
Benevolent Dictator has a strong flow that is not as interrupted with many other parts, and it features a lot of a cappella singing.
Is it maybe one of our longest songs, Benevolent Dictator? I think so. I really love playing the end when all instruments come together, Teresa singing, and finally Teresa and Christian are singing a repetitive call and response together, and me playing a different saxophone melody on top of it. Yeah, it's just very full. And yeah, I like that end of the song too.
Speed reggae.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
White on White.
White on White is also a very energetic song. It's one of the shortest one on the album. And it's just this really captivating, super danceable, fast beats. And we included some influences, like there's this one part that we call the Omar Suleiman part, where we try to play something that reminds us of his music. And also there's a weird noise part, but the rest is just full on straight dance.